Well, Google CEO Sundar Pichai delivered a similar message on Tuesday. Speaking at Google's I/O conference, Pichai pledged to grow Google's technology responsibly. He said, quote, "We are at an important inflection point in computing, and it's exciting to drive the technology forward. It's made us even more reflective of our responsibilities. We feel a deep responsibility to get this right." Well, at past events, Pichai has been bullish on the role of artificial intelligence in helping solve global problems. Now, tech leaders, including Pichai, are taking a more muted tone, particularly in the wake of a backlash about huge companies' collection and distribution of people's data. Well, a report from consulting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers highlights the top 5 trends shaping corporate responsibility, or CR, these days. Consumer awareness about social and environmental issues is guiding companies. Whether it be natural disasters or plastics pollution, companies are having to publicly address these issues, as well as issues of social inequality and worker conditions. Governments and investors are also piling on the pressure through increased regulations and requests to see how CR strategies will enhance financial results. In response, companies are moving corporate responsibility higher up their agenda. CEOs are increasingly making their personal positions known, and big-name companies are talking about a corporate purpose and the importance of being trusted. Another trend taking shape, using technology for good, embracing tech in social responsibility to have a positive impact on society. And companies are setting more specific CR targets to maximize the impact. Well, for more on the role of corporate responsibility, let's bring in Peter Cardillo. He's the Chief Market Economist with Spartan Capital Securities. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So, as you look at the speed and the scope of reaction to a corporate scandal, which companies are good examples of how best to handle these situations?
Well, I guess, you can look at a recent scandal, that is the Facebook one, and of course, Starbucks itself. But, I kind of think that this is a very serious problem, and companies have addressed it. And to a certain degree, when they don't address it, obviously, it could interfere with their growth perspectives in the sense that corporate management gets derailed. And of course, that brings on more regulations instead of less regulations.
Now, let's take a look at what happened with Facebook's data privacy scandal. We saw consumers, data privacy groups, and politicians. They were outraged, but Facebook's bottom line didn't seem to take a hit. So what, if any, lesson was learned there, do you think?
Well, I think the big thing here is the fact that, it was in the press, and for a period of time, the stock did decline because of it. That didn't interfere with the growth because of economic conditions and the company itself. So, I think that what really is the problem is when you have headline news that continues to surface on the same subject, and of course, that's always an unpleasant matter for Wall Street.
Now, it's interesting. We're in very different times right now. Gone are the days of sending a complaint letter if you're unhappy as a consumer. Now you have a plethora of very public tools at your disposal to voice your concerns and really impact a company's brand. So how much of a game changer is social media when it comes to corporate responsibility?
Well, I think social media, has to basically make sure that they can avoid fake news, and that they can avoid subjects that perhaps could be tainted with. And I kind of suspect that that's exactly what's happening right now. There's certainly been a revolution over the past 3 or 4 months in order for more controls to be put in place, so that fake news, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't get out of hand or exaggerates a situation that may or may not exist.
Now, we know that consumers are also potential voters, and that's putting pressure on politicians to really step up and try and crack down on some of these companies. So was it really just a matter of time before regulators played a bigger role in really putting pressure on companies to step up their corporate responsibility?
Well, there's no question, but, the government, especially in the previous administration, certainly has put on many restrictions. This administration seems to have watered down some of the restrictions, but I think when it comes to this particular situation, I don't think that the government would hesitate to get involved in a more meaningful way.
Now, some companies or some leaders are, in fact, choosing not to say anything when a scandal comes out. So what are the economic upsides as a CEO in really stepping up your corporate responsibility?
Well, if you step up your corporate responsibility, that gives you less of a problem in your daily managing of your business. And so I think that's key. And if you can water down, these types of issues, there's a better shot that you're going to run your business the way it should be run and, meet your goals and expectations.
Now, there are a lot of different pressures, whether it's environmental issues, people wanting a better minimum wage. What would you say are the main trends that are really shaping corporate responsibility?
I think to honestly run your business, make sure that you have a clean house in place, make sure that you honor your contracts, your responsibilities towards your employees, and vice versa. And I think those are the basic ingredients that could set a company to prosper.
All right, thank you so much. Peter Cardillo there of Spartan Capital Securities.